and Faber-Castell USA. Okay, so I am seeing some beautiful names in the chat. Hello. Hi, Mariana. She said she's from Arizona. We have Jean from Brooklyn, New York. Hello. I am broadcasting live from Texas. So, howdy, y'all. Hello, everybody. Today is a fun class, but I might have to go a little fast because the last time we did this, we ran out of time. So, we weren't able to do a little bit of coloring to bring our doodles and our drawings to life. So today we'll be working in my journal. So if you have your notebook, see, the thing with bullet journal, a lot of misconception about it. They think that you have to be an amazing artist to do some bullet journaling. So I am curious, how many of you here are doing any type of bullet journaling or planning, no matter what type of planner you have. So I'm curious, I will be looking at the chat. Also for this class, I'll be using my bullet journal. It is from Leuchtturm. So I'll talk a little bit about that because your notebook is as important as the medium that you'll be using, to color in whatever doodles you may have. Or if you're not going to do any colors at all and you're just going to use some markers or some pens, it's still very important because, there's some issues of bleed through and all that. But we're going to talk about that as I'm moving along. And if I am moving a little too fast and you're creating along with me today, this class is being recorded. So you'll be able to watch this class again after 24 to 38 hours. And this will be available at Michael's YouTube channel. So with all that being said, I'm going to move over to the overhead camera. And as you can see here to my bottom right, this is what we're doing. Let me just zoom it in real quick so we can all look at that. So I included in the list that I'll be using some watercolors. There's a lot of watercolors that my Faber-Castell have. They have, the red line, which is more for our kids. And then we have this one too. This might not be available at Michael's, but whatever coloring medium you have today, it's going to be okay. So this is one. This is for the kids, but you know what? It works well. It colors. I love it. The colors are vibrant. I do have another set though, and I can't find it. Now, if you have coloring pencils, color pencils, if you have some markers, the Pitt Artist Pens, this is going to work. I have my glue sticks in there, so we're not going to use that today, but it's just there. I might use my colored pencils too, but to make things quick, because our time is very limited, so I might just use some Faber-Castell Goldfaber Aqua. These are watercolor pencils, so it's water soluble. Once the water touch the pigments, it's going to work like a watercolor. So to speed things up, because I might have to do a bit of blending and all that, just to make sure that we'll be able to do a little bit of coloring, I might use some colored pencils. If you want to use some watercolors or whatever medium you have, those are going to work as well. Now let's talk a little bit about notebooks, because like what I said, it's a little bit important, because what's going to happen is there's some bleed throughs. Bleed through is when an ink goes into the other page of your notebook. And trust me, that's a little frustrating when you're working with, working in your journal and then the ink bleed through to the next page and you're like, what am I going to do now? You can do a little bit of stickers, slap some stickers on there, and then you'll cover it up. But those are little things that you might want to consider when you're doing some bullet journaling. And then, we have a lot of happy planner users in here. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Clarissa. So they're using some happy planners. Emma's here. You know what? Happy planners do have some plain ones as well that you can definitely use for your bullet journal too. And they also have some dot grids. And if none of you here are familiar with a happy planner, it has a disc. So the paper is removable. You can put it in and out of your disc. I love that system too. But sometimes it gets too bulky for me. So like what I said, when you're doing some bullet journaling, truly it is a personal choice. You can use a composition notebook, a ruled notebook, with lines. If you need those lines for writing, I personally love a dot grid and a a grid paper as well, some graph, because I need those guidelines to just help me make my lines. It just makes things easier. And also one thing that's very important for me is the type of paper because I hate bleed throughs. And so this is where the Pitt Artist comes in because they are amazing. And I'm going to show you just a page in here. Look how many blendings I did in here. It's a layer and layer of inks, but there is no bleed through on the other side. Now, maybe it is a combination of the Leuchtturm paper and the Pitt Artist pens, but I have tried the Pitt Artist pens in many different type of journals, even the most inexpensive one. I never have to worry about the bleed throughs. Now, the reason why I want a good paper to use with my Pitt Artist pens is because I don't want to hurt the nib of my pen, because if my paper is not smooth, I'll be hurting my brush pen, and that's a big no-no, right? Okay, so these are actually recommended to be stored horizontally, but I don't have anything and I don't want it to roll all over my page. I'm just going to put it in here for now, but later I will store that horizontal. All right, so here's our clean page. It is a little terrifying when you see clean page in here because, you know, sometimes it's like, well, what am I going to put in here? But this is why I'm here for, is because to help you with some ideas. All right, okay, so first things first, my favorite tool, pencil and eraser. Now, I cannot find my HB, and also when I'm sketching, it's hard to see in the camera. So I'm using a 2B today. And then I'm using my kneadable eraser from Faber-Castell. I love this thing. The other day, my brother came up here in my office and said, "Why do you have a clay in there?" And I said, "Well, it's actually an eraser because, you know, when I erase, you don't have all those eraser dust everywhere. And it's just, and plus it's kind of like fidgeting. So when I'm like kind of stressing or thinking about things, I just fidget with my eraser. I mean, that's right, with my eraser, and it helps me a lot. All right, here we go. Blank page. What I'm planning on doing is putting in the month of October here. And I want to do it in a bubble lettering. If you want to learn more about the bubble lettering, you can check out our past classes that's available on Michael's YouTube. We did some type of bubble alphas in there, but the key here is to create a skeleton inside, right? So what I mean by that is I'm just going to write the words October. What will help me here is being mindful of the spacing because we're going to close all of these in. See, this is my problem with pencils, that it's so hard to see it in the camera. Switch this one around. So I'm just going to write the word October. Just be mindful of your spacing. It's just simple writing October. Now, when I said that it's actually in focus, it's just super, super light, the pencil. So all you got to do is write the word October like this, okay? And be mindful. Look at the spacing in between my letters. See that? Because this is the skeleton. We're going to lock everything. We're going to add some stroke outside. We're going to follow this letter. So I'm going to add one outside that letter O. And I'm just going to use a marker so you guys can see, because it's really hard to see that. I'll grab another notebook so you can see. This will be helpful. Right, so I just wrote the word October. Be mindful of that spacing in between each letter, like that. Here we go. Now, like what I said, we're going to add an outside stroke and an inside stroke. like this. Now, because I didn't use a pencil, you're able to see the inside. But the reason why I used a pencil is because that inside, the first one that we put in, I was going to erase that, but the pencil is making it super hard to see. So this one outside, and then we're going to add another one inside, outside. This one we're add inside stroke. Same as this. And also, I'm going to show you why it's important to use a pencil first, because this here is a perfect example. And I think it's very important for you to see, because now that I used a marker and look how my spacing is, I won't be able to fix this anymore because I used a marker, and the Pitt Artist pens, they are permanent once they're dry. I won't be able to erase it unless I use a sand eraser, then that's just going to hurt your paper. That's why I use pencil first, because I want to make sure of the placement of each letter first. So I will try my hardest to write this first and fix it, and then you'll be able to see it with the markers. Okay. I'll try to follow it. All right, so we have the word October in there. And then you have the option to fill that in with some color, or you can use your black marker to fill it inside. Sometimes I like to use just the black, because using black on black, I'm able to fix the width of some strokes. For example, the October right here, I feel like I can add a little bit more. So using a black this time will help me fix the width of my stroke, because if I use a different color, then that was it, you know? So this time, to correct my mistake, I'm just going to use a black on black. I'm using the Pitt Artist in brush tip. This one, I'm able to cover a much larger space at a time. For our calendar days for the weekly, I figured we'll do something creative today, because honestly, creating some lines and all that for the planners, sometimes it's a little, I struggle with the lines, and I don't like, I hope I'm not alone here, I never like using a ruler. So it makes it difficult to do lines, and sometimes they're all wonky, but I think I love the imperfect look anyways. But sometimes it's nice to be different from just having a regular, you know, vertical or horizontal layout. And that's the reason why I'm doing a bullet journal, because I want to do something different than what I can find in a just a regular planner that's already made for me. The layouts are already made. And that's the reason why I love doing bullet journals, just to be different and do something creative and fun. Right, so now that I've filled this part right here, since this is going to be a weekly layout, you can choose to add top 3, your top 3 things that you need to get done for this week. You can choose to put it here or over here at the bottom. But our main key that what we're going to do is, instead of just rectangles or, you know, horizontal or vertical, we're going to use some clouds to use for our days of the week. Okay, and then I'm going to use a different color marker. So I chose some Halloween themed colors because of all the things that we're going to draw. So I have light purples, violet, pinks, orange, yellows, and yeah, oranges. And I actually pulled out some Faber-Castell, some metallic markers as well in gold and in silver. All right, so for the 2022, I'm just going to use the color yellow in here. And I'm just going to add some lines, some horizontal rectangle here. So now we're all different. Some of you may like the fine tip, the extra fine tip, you know. Oh my God. That is so loud. There you go. All right, am I unmute now? That's going to be super crazy loud. Do we have a fire? All right, so So what I was saying, the Pitt Artist Pens, they come in many different sizes. So you can use a extra super fine, and then there's the super fine, which is the letter S here. So you can find the set in Michael's that comes in many different tips. I love a brush pen because I love doing some hand lettering and all that. I love using the brush tip. And I also love the super fine tip, which is the letter S. So I'm just going to put in 20, 22 over there. All right. I'm so sorry, Angie. I know I have my poppy over here also. So it's like, I bet it was super loud for them. Oh my goodness. All right. So this part right here, you can choose to use some pencil if you'd like. But since we're all having such a hard time seeing the pencil, I'm just going to go straight ahead and use my marker. Now, to divide our notebook here, we're going to add 4 here on the left, and I'm going to add 4 on the right. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know about you, but I like my week in one page first, and then see the next page, the next half of the week onto the other page. Some people like it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then a to-do section. But I like it where all the half of my week is here. So Monday, Tuesday, oh my. I have no idea what's happening with our alarm system. I'm going to turn down my microphone a little bit. So I'm going to add some clouds Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you want to make sure that everything is not super wide. So look at your page. And this is why I like using pencil first, because to be honest with you, I am the worst at making sure that everything fits in here. So what I like to do is draw some oval first, just to make sure. And you want to make sure that you have enough space for all the things you need to add in here. Now, I do a daily as well. So in my weekly layout, all I put in there are just important, whatever stuff that's more highlighted. If I have some due dates, you know, that I think need to be finished, then that's where I put it in. Now, you won't be able to see it here, but I'm just adding some oval, making sure. Okay, guys, we don't have fire, but I think it's a system. So I'm going to mute myself in here while my husband is fixing it because I don't want you guys freaking out. So all I did was just added the oval just to make sure that I have enough spacing and all that. And then I'm going to go move over and use my marker to add the clouds.
Thank you everyone for hanging in there and being patient while Miss Lay works on her fire alarm. We've all been there. We all know what you're going through, so no worries. I hope everyone's enjoying our class so far and loving their Pitt Artist pens and their October bullet journal. And don't forget, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll be happy to answer them.
Okay, what I want to add is you want to make sure that we have enough space for the critters that we're going to add in here. For example, I want to add some cobwebs, some spiders. We're going to add a little bit of witch. So I might adjust some of this here and make sure that I have some spacing for all of them for the cute critters that we're going to add in here. I don't know what's wrong with her fire alarm. Oh my God. I didn't realize my husband is not here either. So my brother is here trying to help me. I'm like, I'm sorry.
It happens to all of us. Don't worry.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Always when you need it not to happen.
So stressful.
Don't worry. I'm sure all of our friends have been there as well.
Oh my goodness. I think it's battery. So, all right, I'm going to add just a little bit here because I want to make sure we have enough space for the cobwebs that we're going to create. All right. So 1, 2. Okay. And like what I said, if you have a lot of to-do list or a lot of things that you need to put in here, maybe this layout is not the best for you. Maybe creating the vertical or a horizontal layout is much fitting. But if you're someone who doesn't really have a whole lot of things going on, we're not going to put in our to-do list in here, just the important ones, for example, birthdays, any celebrations that's happening included in here. And what I do when I'm planning is I love doing top 3. So if I have 3 things that I need to accomplish that day, that is what I always put in my weekly calendar. And then I do my dailies, then I add all my to-dos in there, which is a lot. So that's it. And also the marker that I'm using is still the Pitt Artist Pen, but this is a brand new one. It's called the Fudenosuke. I'm not sure when we're going to have this at Michael's yet, but it's my favorite and I cannot just not use it. But most of the time I use the brush tip as well. But this brand new one is pretty awesome. Miss Jennifer may be able to help us.
Yes, it'll be at Michael's in July of 2023.
Ooh, You guys have a whole lot of waiting to do. But it's pretty darn awesome. But it uses the same indie ink. And so, it's just like what I said, it really is a personal preference when it comes to tips, because I know some people like it really bold and chunky. So you might want to use the medium tip that we have. So we have many different tips. So everyone, for your personal choices, you have a lot to choose from. All right. So when it comes to the doodles and the characters, this time I'm really going to need some pencil because I want to make sure, that I have their placement properly and all that. So I hope that you were able to space out your clouds and make sure that we have enough space in between for our little critters that we're going to add. Now here, intentionally, I have this bottom here to my right because this is where I'm going to add my to-dos, my list for the whole week, not for the dailies, but just for the whole week, whatever it is, priorities that I need to get done and all that, that will go over here. So inside our clouds, you can choose to add a circle for the days. For the dates. You can choose circle. You can choose other basic shapes, like maybe a star, to be more creative. We can try that. How about we can do star and a circle inside? Now, when I'm doing a star, I like it a little chunky. And also, so I'll have some space for the date. See, I have a little star inside. And then this one, I'll do a circle. And so I'll do a circle in here. And then I'll do another star in here. I start with a triangle. Can you see that? And then I add 2 triangles on each side. Now, this one takes practice. My star doesn't always come perfect, but if you're familiar with my classes, you know that I love that imperfectly perfect look. So I'll do a circle in there and I'll do a star in here. But this is such different and fun layout, it's not just a regular vertical, just something different. And I think that's what bullet journal helped me a lot, other than being productive and able to really accomplish many things throughout my day and my weeks and my months. But really, it really inspired me to be more creative and just playful and not being so controlling with my drawings, because I always have to remind myself that just be carefree, just have fun and be creative and just really play, instead of being so stiff with my work. I'm like, oh my God, this is not perfect. Oh, this line is not perfect, or this circle is not perfect. So I think that's one really, really important to remind you, is just have fun. Okay. Right. So we have our circles, we have our stars. Now, I didn't do my week this week because I wanted to do it with you. And so I am terrible with dates and days. I have to look back at my monthly, then my weekly. So now is the 5th. So it is a Wednesday. We're going to put it in here. Now you can choose to color in your clouds right now, right away, but you can choose to do it later also. So I'll just back plan. So this is the 5th. So yesterday was the 4th. And then Monday was the 3rd. Okay. Now I can just go there. 6, 7, 8, 9. And this one I'm going to add a heart because this is actually for our to-dos. Priorities and to-dos, because we added one more heart in there. All right, we can do that. Now for banners, do you guys, oh, is it too low now? Okay, sorry. I think we've solved our problem with that silly thing. I can adjust it again. Here we go. Hopefully it doesn't make some noises. For banners, we can choose to make it complicated or simple. And if you've heard me earlier, I like simple. So I'm going to make my banner simple. what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a wavy line, just one wave and up. All right. So look at me first and then you can follow it. It's kind of like a hump. And then I'll go another one, but stop in there. Okay. And so I will follow the same shape, go one hump, and then go back up. So this is kind of like a page flag as well. This one, I'm going to close it in from one line to there. And here I'm going to add kind of like a letter V. See, we're going to add that ribbon ending. And I always like to add kind of like it was stapled. So I'm just going to add a dash over there. And I'm going to write the words this week inside. Right. So you can choose, I think I'm going to choose my brush tip over here to add the days of the week. So it's bolder, as you can see. And I'm just going to shorten it to 3 letters. So Monday, M-O-N. Tuesday. See the difference of the stroke that it can create? This one is much bolder, and the brush tip is very versatile because I can create some thin lines as well. Look at that top of the letter T. That's very thin. And that is because I'm only using the tip of the marker and I'm applying really light pressure. But when I use the body of the marker and apply some pressure, I'm able to create some very thick strokes in here too. And also it depends on how much pressure you want to apply in there. Okay. You know, my heart is still thumping from that silly thing. Okay, now I have Saturday. And we have to do Sunday. I'll have here. So we'll add our top 3 priorities. For example, one of your priorities is you need to get a Halloween costume, you know? So you can add in there. We need to do some groceries for the moms, and for students, you have science or something. So these are the places that you can add in your top 3s. Now for the critters, we're going to use our imagination a little bit in here because we're going to adjust to the space. Now, what do we have space-wise? We have here, you know, in the middle, we have here. We can fill in some of the corners. Now, let's think of Halloween cute doodles. We can use some pumpkins in here. We can add some bats, some spiders, and they're super easy and fun to do as well. I will show you how to do first a cobweb. And at first, I'm like, I know it's simple, but you know, being a grown up sometimes it's really hard because we overcomplicate things. And come on, it's not just myself. We really do. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to think like a child, you know, think like when you were young, and or if you're young, just use your imagination and think of the basic shapes. What is the whole picture? So for example, for the cobwebs, we're going to start with the very basic. And we're going to start with the letter X. Okay. So where I want to put my cobwebs is in here and in here. I want to fill this middle page in here, and there's going to be a crack. So it's maybe a little hard, but you know what? We're going to go with it. And it's okay if I cover parts of the 2022, that's fine as well. So again, we start with the letter X. One part here, okay? I want the other one over here. Now looking at this, this is where my middle is. Okay, so if you want your middle to be here where the crack is, you want to make sure that you add here, adjust your stroke to go over here on top a little bit more. But I want my middle here, and where that middle part, you want to add one line, a vertical line going down like that. And here in the middle part again, I'm going to add a horizontal line. And look at my lines. I am intentionally not being careful, so they look a little jagged and wiggly. And that's okay. Now I'm switching from the brush to the Fudenosuke Hard. I can also use the super fine because I want to add small details in here. Now we're going to add a smile. Okay, we start with this one, like a little smile. See? Just like that. And we go all over from one line to the next. Over here, it looks like a frown now because I'm the opposite. So just keep filling that part in. Now you want to play around with the size. Maybe the lines are a bit more closer to one another. Maybe they have the distance. There's a bigger gap, so you can do that too, like that. And I'm just going to stick with my brush tip so you can see it much better. See this one, I'm making a frown here instead of a smile. Like that. Okay. So this one, I'm going to adjust it and go a little much of a bigger gap like that. This. This is one of the easiest that you can add in your bullet journal, or even if you have a planner and you want to just kind of personalize it and add your own doodles in there. Cobwebs are super easy and it just screams Halloween. I'm going to add one more over here and just one here. You can choose to fill it in a little bit more, but I think I'm going to stop in here. Okay, so we have that cobweb. And now it's time to add our little bitty spiders. Now play around with the cobweb. So if you want it wiggly like this, if you want it just straight, that's fine. But I think I'm going to choose to do some wiggly lines like that, where it's kind of like hanging down. And for my spider, I'm going to just draw an oval shape. I'm going to fill in this shape right here. We don't want to be too scientific. I'm just going to add 3 legs to the right and 3 to that left. Okay. And then over here also, I think I'm going to add a spider. This one I'll have a straight line. And I'll add its tiny legs also. Okay. Now for our witch, I really want to use a pencil, but you might have a hard time seeing it. So I think I have an 8B in here, so that it's more black and you'll be able to see it. So for the space and the size that I have, we're going to make sure that we make do. So I want to have where it's kind of like peeking through in between these 2 clouds right here. Okay, so what I want to do is instead of filling the whole page with the face, I know it's kind of like my little tiny bear witch is going to be hiding in between. So look, I'm just adding basic shapes for the head, an oval, just like that. I'm going to zoom it in so you can see. And I'm going to go across it. Look at this, and just cross line. And I'm going to bring this up kind of like a triangle. So it's kind of like making a mountain as well. But I'll stop right here where there's a gap in between, a line. And then for this one, look, some jaggedy lines. Remember how we made the spider web going down? This is how I'm going to do it too. But I'm going to stop right here because this is where tip of that hat is. So if you notice, it's really just like using basic shapes, right? I just kind of like added diagonal lines, horizontal, squared it in inside. The hardest part to do when you're doodling or drawing is being symmetrical and also making sure that everything is balanced. So I have that little tiny witch's head now in there. And what I'm going to do is I want to put in a small hand, kind of like, hey, my hand is, I want to see through these two clouds. So just two ovals, just two small ovals. And that's going to give us an illusion in the visual that these are two hands peeking through. And I'm going to add two eyes, just like this. And then a smile. Actually, I want to add a nose because it's going to be a bear. So for the nose, I'm just going to draw another oval, just like that. And then a line going down. So when you're trying to do something cute in kawaii or anything that's whimsical, the key to drawing cute things like this is think small. Sometimes their head is much bigger than their hand. And when you look at eyes like this, look how tiny their eyes are. But that's what makes it super duper cute. It's almost like no eyes look like that. But when you're trying to draw something cartoonish and all that, it's not real. You know, you're trying to build your own character. So, but if you want your eyes much bigger, then the rest of the body, that's okay too. You know, play around and really see and try things, because when you try things like this, that's when you're going to discover the type of art that you like. Because when you're practicing and you're building a character, that is where you're going to really try new things. And then you're going to figure out that style that you like. Maybe you like two big, bold eyes. That's perfect. If you want two cute little eyes like this, that's perfect too. But try and try until you find that specific look that is perfect for your eyes, because all that matters is you. Okay. So it's really important, because that's where I struggled the most before. It's like, I want to keep trying how everybody else is doing it. And I was struggling because I couldn't find my own style in there. Now we can choose to add a body in here. Look how what I'm gonna make, okay? And it's going to be super cute. So I'm gonna add just a little tiny, kind of like a little smile again. Again, the basic shapes that we're doing. So it's kind of like hanging in here. But look what I'm gonna make with the legs. It's kind of like, I'm trying to make sure I'm going in. So when we're drawing something kawaii, everything is more simple shapes. Look, for the feet, I just added two diagonal lines going down, but one is hidden underneath the cloud. So remember that. So now two ovals again. Remember how we did the hands? That's how we're going to do the feet too. So it's kind of like, and then I'm going to add that line. So I'm going to draw it with a marker so you can see it much, much better. Okay. Try my hardest here. And pay attention to how I'm doing my lines. My lines are not straight. They're more wiggly, jaggedy, and that's what gives it a bit more character. But for my eyes, I'm going to choose to keep my lines really clean and very, very delicate, small eyes, because that's what gives that super cute look Drawing 2 ovals for my hands. Two lines like this. An oval. Close it in like this. It's actually looking super cute. And you know what happens is that when you start coloring this in, that's when you're really going to see this. Oh my goodness, I created my own character in here. So you might want to add a little bit of line for the ears, just kind of like a little bit of its ears is peeking through there. I'm going to clean up just a little bit of my lines here, adjust it. I'm going to choose a purple color so we can see. I said I was going to use my Goldfaber pencils, didn't I? But then this is what I have in front of me. So you know what, we'll stick to it. We'll just use my Pitt Artist Pens. But whatever you have in there, use that to color it in. So you can see here. And also Faber-Castell generously provided us with some printables that you can print at home, which are the characters that I created. We have some witch in there. We also have this little adorable, I think we have a mummy in there. It's so cute. I'm going to use a pink one for this part of the hat. This is beige red for the color of my little tiny bear. So this is what's going to give us an illusion that this is the body, because we're trying to color it. And sometimes our eyes, you know, it really does like to play tricks on us. And so with colors, sometimes it helps us even more to really visualize things like this. And I'm going to add 2 pink ovals in here. So it looks like it has a blush. Super duper cute. Little bear is stuck in there. Okay, so now I want to add a little bit of color just to help us out. Now I want to add some cauldron over here. So it's kind of like there's a witch's brew over here. And for this one, I'm going to use my pencil again. What I like to do when I'm having a hard time with my position, remember that you don't have to make yourself uncomfortable. Okay, because this is not stationary. You can move your notebooks or your planners around. So I like to move things, my notebook, tilt it and all that. And it really does help, because especially when I'm doing classes like this, I cannot just go over here, you know, so I have a very limited space. So moving and tilting my notebook around like this really helps a lot. So for the cauldron, I'm going to make like an oval, but it's kind of like a stretched one. So we have a witch's brew over here. Look at the oval here. So it's like a stretched oval, like that. And I'm going to follow the shape, bring this down, and add another layer, another stroke, just following that shape up on top. Just like that. And I'm relying on the camera also, because I cannot see if I'm symmetrical or not, super hard. And I'm going to add, look at this, just kind of like a slanted line on both sides. Very small, very, very small. Okay. Now, what's going to help is if you want to add another oval in here, a bigger one, it really does help, especially if you're just sketching. And I like to do that. So I'm going to add an oval so I can really find that shape that I want. And that's why I like to use my HB, because it's light, it's easier to erase. Now, when it comes to this 8B, it's really dark and much harder. This gives me the guide of my size. Now, I know that it's super crazy to look at right now, but this is where I'm going to bring this one down, slowly bringing it down and connect it to here. Just following the shape. Now this one, I know it's not symmetrical, so I'm just going to adjust it, but I can see the guide. So even though this first part is wrong, I can see it, so I can adjust it. You know, I don't have to follow that, but it helps me a lot. So see, using very basic shapes like this, it will help compose your much more complicated drawings by just using very basic shapes. Make sure that's added. Okay, looks good to me. Now for the two legs, we're going to make just a cone. Look at this, kind of like, it's not a triangle, but it's just kind of like a very chunky cone, ice cream cone. But it's a letter V. If you think about it, it's just a letter V that is much wider. Like that. And to make this even more cute, I'm going to add some circles. So it's like brewing. Play around with your size. One is smaller, the other one is bigger, medium, and all that. And then for the inside to look like there's a potion brewing in there, this top part right here, I'm just going to follow that. I'm just going to do this and go to the side. Now, what's going to change this is when we start coloring it, because now we know that this one is going to be a color black or gray, this big pot right here, and this will be green or orange or whatever color you choose. And for this one, I want to make it cute again, because I love kawaii things. It just makes me super happy seeing kawaii drawings like this. So I'm just adding to face again, right? And then I'm going to color it in with green. This time I don't have my Pitt Artist Pen, and I'm going to show you what the Goldfaber Aqua pencils does. So look, I am using my kneadable eraser, just kind of lightening my sketch. And I'm going to use this green color. I'm going to start with the inside. Now you can play around with the value of your colors. If you apply more in one particular area, that means it's going to be darker than the rest. And notice how on both sides, both corners of this one are much darker, because I want a darker value in there. Here we go. I'm going to add a little bit more and all that. Now you can leave it just like this, like a regular colored pencil, but you can use a water brush like this because it's water soluble. Look at that. I am blending my colors. Now, the problem is if you don't have a whole lot of time waiting for this to dry, then you want to stick with just the colored pencils. But if you don't mind just playing around and really just doing a little bit of coloring and not worrying about drying time, by all means, have fun with some watercolor pencils. So if you're going to the store and look at the Faber-Castell, the Goldfaber, if you want the water soluble one, you want to look for the word aqua in there. Okay, because the Goldfaber pencils, those are going to be oil-based, and that's not going to blend with water. So right now I am just adding a light color, and I know my face disappeared, but I know that this is going to lighten a little bit more because I'm going to blend it with water. And also you can use some paper towel to dab onto the page to kind of like erase some areas or add a little bit more water, and then dab your water brush or your paintbrush into a baby wipes or paper towel to kind of move those pigments, erase, basically we're erasing a little bit of the color, especially in the face area of this cauldron or this pot that we're trying to draw. Just like that. And I think one thing I love about watercolors is how inconsistent it can be sometimes. And I think that's part of the beauty in there, because depends on how much pigments you apply, depends on, how you applied it, how you blended it. We all get different results. There, I'm just adding a black on top. Now, of course, once it's dry, you can add a little bit more layer on top of this one. Or you can layer it again with the green if you feel like the green is not dark enough or not intense enough, then you can build your intensity just like that. We'll go over here and add some green to my bubbles and all that. And you can blend it again. You can choose to make the clouds just plain and color in your weekly, your dates like this. You can choose to wait later because the Pitt Artist pens, they are water proof once they're dry. So you can do some watercolors in here. And that's why I love doing the watercolors, because I know that I can really play around with my blending. Now, the half of the week, I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to use the Lilac 239. So they're all different. It just gives me like division of my week. I know that this is the happy week. This is where weekend is. And so it's just much happier. You can choose to color your banner in and all that. But I want to add just another one before we go. I know it's almost time to go, but I really want to add just a small one. Remember how we did our bear? Now I want to add something in here on the side. Let's see it. I want to add some bats. So for the bats, remember, I like to use basic shapes, okay? So I am going to start with the body first. So kind of like draw the body. So I'm drawing just this oval shape. Just like that. Right, Ashley? Because I love stickers. Please don't get me wrong. I love stickers too. I love using stickers. But sometimes just being creative and doing my own, it's just so special. It's just really is. You personalize your planner, you personalize your journals, your days, add a little bit of journaling in there. It's perfect. And here I just added 2 ears for the bats. And then for the wings, I want to make it a really wide span stretch. So I added 2 of those. Okay. Stretch this one just a little bit. And then we're going to do kind of like a frown because it's an upside down smile. So kind of like here, 1. I'm going to add another 1, 2. And then one last one that connects to the body. All right. So this time I'm going to pretend that it's here. Say, I'll draw 1, 2, and then 3. But I wanted to show you that because it's another color. It's another drawing that is super fun to create. For example, if you want to do a little bit of card making, so bats are always easy. You can spread out the bats in here on your page. Make one over here again, add another one over here, add another one to the top, and add more spiders. And you have such a fun Halloween layout. But again, we have shared some printables. You can print that on a sticker paper, and then you can use it in your planner for your personal use. Enjoy it. But I would like to invite everybody for the whole month of October, look at what we have. We have so many exciting classes. The one coming up next week, we'll be doing some brush lettering. We'll be playing with some Albert Dürer watercolor markers. On the 19th, we're going to do like a DIY Halloween decoration. It's made out of wood. So if you want to get a clipboard like that, it's very inexpensive at Michael's. We're going to be using some gelatos and some metallic markers, Pitt Artist Pens. And on the 26th will be crafty. That one will take a long time. So that's why I reserved it for the premium class. We'll be creating our own card. So we'll be learning from sketch. But if you don't want to bother with the drawing, you want to make sure you print out the printables, and then we can do a tracing using some graphite pencil, or if you have some graphite sheets, that will work as well. Make sure to follow us on social media, Faber-Castell, show us some love, and also, of course, Michael's too. If you create along with us today, or if you're inspired to create your own bullet journal and your own planner, some doodles in there, would love to see it. Don't forget to use the hashtag Make It With Michaels. But again, my name is Leibella Ralston. I do apologize with all that alarming sound earlier. Oh my goodness. But it was spooky. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I hope that this class was inspiring. Thank you for spending some time with us. Until next time, I'll see you again. Stay creative and stay happy. Bye, everybody.